Alright, what's up, you guys? Alright, so we have this section today that we want to go and explore a little more. It is called the JavaScript props object. So for the JavaScript props object, we discussed in the last couple of videos that there is this um, thing over here where we pass into the actual um, React style sheet. I'm still trying to understand it also, so that's why we're gonna try doing it together more deeply. Okay. So what is uh the Java this is this is Expo. So sorry, I meant to say that we were doing the object literals, and the Expo instead uses things called the Expo props object. So that's what we're trying to understand right now. All right, let's go. Great question. This is the missing piece. Let's go step by step. Excuse me. So what is a props object? In React Native, every component is really a function that gets one argument props. So one of the arguments is props. So if we go to React Native snack, which is this nice little application over here that they made for the web. Eh, the way we're going to start writing it first, right, is import React from React, uh, React from React, right, want to write the, I'm going to put away the browser for now. I'm going to do import, since our components, we're going to import text today. We're going to import view. We're going to import text from React native React native. That's probably how you do it. React native. Um. Okay. Let's see real quick. Import text from React Native. From React Native. React Native. So that's how we import the text from, like that. So now what we're going to do is we want to do function app. We want to make our React native component. React native React create element create elements. So the first one's going to be view. Then our other one is going to be a prop. It's going, or we'll make it null because that's what we're trying to figure out. Then we we want to make okay, so we want to make a component here. Let's okay, so then we're gonna export the app. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do this. So let's make our component function hello function hello react dot com react create element. We're gonna do view null, and then we're just gonna make it say hello world, hello. So this should work. And we're gonna call this guy here, we're gonna make it hello. So let's see how this works. Custom, call it a custom function. What? Okay, yeah. So we want to just connect to the internet real quick. Uh, it's iPhone. All right. So we're connected. I'm gonna save. Your snack was saved. Okay, now what we're gonna do? We're gonna run it. We're gonna load it on the custom. So maybe you have to wait for some reason. You guys know, by the way, how this works. Write it down in the description below, in the comments. Excuse me. Meaning like what is the this Q thing that you guys saw? So write it down, obviously. Descriptions, that would be awesome. So we have this thing, React View. Okay, so maybe this has to be a text component. Text component. Okay, let's see what's going on. Why it's not working? Good catch. Makes sense what you're trying to do. Build React Native, pure React. Okay, so hello, null, view. Okay, so that's why. This has to have. Okay, so that's what we have to pass it. We have to actually do re react create element. Hello. So React default create element is not a function, it is undefined. Oh yeah. To turn. Create React. Okay, let's ask one more time what's going on for this code over here right now. Nice, super close. Fix version. Props for view. Okay, there it is. Alright, nice. Alright, so as you see, we've been doing this null in the actual um, app. So we're gonna make this thing called the style sheet now. So and this is what we're trying to figure out. Const styles equal create style sheet. Let's see exactly how to do this. Uh, let's real quickly ask how come we need a return. Great. My question, the return is what makes React actually produce. Is that something you just have to accept? Like, uh, exactly. At first, you kind of just accept it as a rule. React components must return something. Java, in Java, your program needs main method. In HTML, everything is inside HTML. In math, function of x must give back an output. F of x must give an output. Okay, fine. That's something you just accept. You don't fully know why. You just use it because that's how the system works. Later on, though, once you peek under the hood, it makes total sense. React.create element produces a plain object, the blueprint for the UI. That blueprint only leaves your function if you return. Only if you return. React collects all those returns, builds a tree, and draws it on the screen. So what feels like an arbitrary rule at first is actually just the logic of data flow. Functions return, React builds a tree, screen shows stuff. So yes, at the very beginning, excuse me, at the very beginning we just accept it as and keep going, but the more you code, the more natural it feels like breathing. Interesting. Okay, so we just accept that the functions this hello function has to have a return. Uh, However, we do want to understand a little bit about the styles today. Okay. Uh, Style sheet. How does that native? Great timing. Let's dive into how style sheet works in React Native step by step. What style sheet is? Style sheet is a huge helper module from React Native. Import style sheet from React style sheet. Okay, so we actually have to import it in here. Styles. Uh, when you say now you can do what is the equivalent for uh your your React Native. Ah, okay. Makes sense in the JSX. You would write this, but what is the pure React Native? So no JSX version of that. JSX, what you're used to seeing without JSX. Okay, props object. View style. Okay, without JSX, pure React Native with React element. Okay, props object. Full example of style should create, meaning now when you include the style sheet in the import, you can use this guy as a So object called styles. We have an object called styles. Styles is just font size. So when you do styles.text, you're building a props object that looks like this. Gotcha. Uh, so it's really cool because this is how we define the our styles, and we actually have, and then at the end when we actually call the style, we pass it in as a props object. So first we just have a basic like um, object literal, which is mainly this part right here. However, this makes it styles. Put it inside this const. That's how I understand it from what the Chat GPT was saying. So and then when you see this thing over here, this is actually the props property. It gets passed as a property. So as we've already talked before in our other Expo React Native app over here, we've talked that the React element has these things has to have a certain signature. So you have to first have the type, which is the component, right? This is usually a function. Now you usually if you want to write your own custom component, it would be like this. However, the it's I believe it's Facebook that made this. They wrote it. They wrote, or I believe it's them that made these main components. Okay, let's go really quick. Ask just to make sure. So Facebook made these components. No? Yes. Okay. So as we know from ChatGPT over here, the Facebook made these components, and we actually call these components inside the React dot create element um, React dot create element function, and it has a certain signature, which is like this, right? You write create element type is the component usually, right? Either view text. It won't be style sheet, right? Because style sheet is it's in you make it it's different. You have to write it like create style sheet. You have to write it in a const. You call it a different way. Usually it's the usually it's the component that you write inside there. Right, as you see the in here you don't usually write the signature. You don't write uh, you don't have a type here. You just it's a different way of thinking. You don't write style sheet. You see, style sheet gets called differently. So the place we actually get the uh, React dot create element. That's from the React. That's how we learned it from the ChatGPT. That's from this library. Now the signature is this, and so when we do props, these are called properties. That actually gets passed in um, with this specific syntax like this. It gets passed in like this as a prop. property. As you see, we have the same stuff import. We're importing the components. Then we have our main function. We have to do return because that's the traditional way. It's just we have something we have to accept. And then this is our signature. We as we have over here. This is our type over here. This is our prop. This is our child element over here. And also the same thing here. Here's our type. Here's the property, and this is hello world. So this style, this style is what allows us to write this, because if we didn't have this style sheet, we wouldn't be able to write this. It's just something that's built in into this style sheet thing. Once we write this guy, we can make a style sheet inside a component. You create the style sheet, and then we can call it like this. So this literally makes a JavaScript object for us, and I can show you exactly uh, what it what it what it gets called as. So actually, you're building a props object looks like this. So it's some it looks like this, but we don't see it. But this is what happens under the hood. That's how I understand what's right saying over here. And as you see, uh, we are able to create the style sheet over here. It's const, and we're able to make the actual uh, hello world pop in the text. Okay, so what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to center it. So we're making the style, so it's going to be a styles container. It's supposed to be centered. We have I still need to try to figure out what this flex means. So you guys will probably, with God's help, will see this in the next couple of videos. With God's help. However, this means in traditional web that it's centered, uh, and its font size is 20, blue, and that's it. Okay, so let's try to pass it into this function over here. Let's do 10. Uh, style sheets. Two. All right. So we got exactly what we were expecting. That it's in the middle, and as you guys see, it's very interesting how you build an app uh, with JavaScript syntax, kind of. So, very interesting stuff. So yeah, with God's help, we'll come back with you guys the next couple of videos, and we'll be able to learn more about the deeper sides and deeper understanding of how React works. Other than that, with God's help, we'll see you guys next couple of videos. All right, see you guys. Peace.